The PhD, Booger-Eatin Schmuck, M. Scott Veach, elbow deep, May 2021.
Listen to my whole sentence. If you're on a sphere, then you change your latitude, you also change your rate of rotation.
Well, that's what your pseudoscience priests tell you, and you mindlessly parrot. But the Earth is demonstrably flat and not rotating. It's also a non sequitur fallacy. If you're on a sphere, a shape, that premise alone doesn't in any way even remotely imply that the shape is moving, in this case rotating. Shapes are not motions, crayon muncher.
So you're changing your rate of rotation if you're on a sphere when you change latitude. It's a standard for rate of rotation.
Are you high right now?
Either that or he should be. See the previous response in toto. It's another non sequitur fallacy. Even if it was rotating, how in the world is the rate of rotation a stand-in for the rate of rotation, whether you're changing your latitudes or not, booger eater?
But then you check to see, does the rate of rotation affect the precession as predicted?
His question slowed down for comprehension. As we're all aware, the booger eater's mouth is about 5 minutes ahead of the caper-sized piece of horse shit between his ears. The question: does the rate of rotation affect precession as predicted? You have yet to establish that the Earth is rotating. You kind of have to do that first. And you have no scientific prediction here, as in a scientific hypothesis. Even if you knew how to construct one, and we all know you don't, you have no viable independent or dependent variable in this genre.
It does. Oh, look, it's processing.
I did tell a putty cat.
Now you have to
It's
ask
called
yourself.
affirming the consequence.
No, it isn't.
Oh, yes it is. Textbook. If P, then Q, Q, therefore P. If the Earth is rotating, we will observe a putty tat. We see a putty tat. Therefore, the Earth is rotating.
And now you have to ask yourself, oh, is it possible, is it quite likely that the fact that I was changing this dependent or independent variable is the thing that's causing it to precess? Or is it something coincidental? And that's what I was trying to explain to you before, which is always a possibility, which is where you check in to see, do I meet my standard of statistical significance or not?
What the fuck? My word, you're delusional. Possibility and likelihood is only used with inductive reasoning. There is no inductive reasoning in the scientific method. You were changing your independent variable? The only thing you were changing in your previous non sequitur fallacies was the latitude. Latitudes don't cause anything, and most certainly don't cause the Earth to spin in space monkey, you bozo. And newsflash, latitudes don't have physical existence, you booger-eating goober. Moreover, and knee-slapping hilarious, the quintessential example of giving a 3-year-old a chainsaw. In retrospect, a Trojan horse, if you will. After the ball-tarred booger eaters continually got their asses handed to them from 2016 through 2019 because of flat earthers asking for their independent variable, they eventually wisened up. I use that as loosely as possible, and educated themselves, again, as loosely as possible, on what independent variables are. For whatever reason, they focused heavily on the changeability aspect and continue to do so. These schnoz particle chefs think that if you can change something, then it's automatically an independent variable. But an independent variable, the presumed cause, is varied and manipulated itself by the researcher so as to change the relationship with the dependent variable. The booger eater here said he changed his latitude, ergo independent variable. He didn't vary and manipulate a latitude itself. He merely changed his position relative to an arbitrary fairy tale latitude. See it? They have the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. Boneheads. That's what you get for pretender clowning. These dizzy Dunning-Kruger dipshit doofuses have Elmer Fudd, Mr. Magoo, and baby Huey doubled over in the corner, gasping for their last breaths from tear-jerking belly laugher syndrome. Oh, by the way, booger eaters, you're welcome. No thank you required. Lastly, your flailing non sequitur of the ages Mr. Magoo application of statistical analysis to whether the space monkey is spinning or not is tantamount to applying GNP of Zimbabwe calculations to authenticate the Declaration of Independence. Are you okay, dude? Jamal, get on it. Ow! 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 Scottie, are you okay? Scottie, are you okay? Are you okay, Scottie? Scottie, are you okay? Scottie, are you okay? Are you okay, Scottie? Scottie, are you okay? Scottie, are you okay? Are you okay, Scottie? Scottie, are you okay? Are you okay, Scottie? Tell us that you're okay, that you're okay, that you're okay, Scottie. There's a sign in the window that instructs you to Booger, Eatin, Schmuck, Scottie.
Well, we had to clear up the difference between engineering and science. There is no science in engineering at all.
Oh, yeah.
What is your definition of science?
I just told you how there is, Kimo.
Wrong. From Boston University, College of Engineering, 2010 fall issue of the Engineer. Title of the paper, Engineering is not science. Duh. From Professor Henry Petrosky, Professor of Engineering and History at Duke University. Title of the paper, Engineering is not science, and confusing the two keeps us from solving the problems of the world. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the PhD Booger Eatin Schmuck here and his ilk keeps us from solving the problems of the world.
What they're essentially saying is, you say you're doing science, but you're doing something that doesn't actually test hypotheses.
What the hell did you just say?
Anytime you're using something that is going to help you test hypotheses.
I wonder how you would have an experiment without the scientific method. I wonder how that would be.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think of the scientific method as requiring stuff like observe a natural phenomena?
Yes. Dependent variables, observed natural phenomena, are absolutely requisite for hypothesis construction. And you can't have natural science without hypotheses.
So then, let's say tomorrow, I'm going to just do an experiment where I have a control variable of temperature. I'm going to adjust it.
OMG from a Booger Eatin PhD. Doofus, you don't change or alter control variables because control variables are always held constant. That's what makes them controls.
You dumbass.
Next block of instruction, how to look through a window while standing.
And I'm going to see how it affects the salinity of my compound. And I'm going to record all the results. And I'm going to do this experiment. I've done an experiment there, but I'm not really part of any kind of overarching method. I just did an experiment by itself, in and of itself, without observing a phenomenon. I didn't even really have a hypothesis.
Ay, caramba!
So you conducted a scientific experiment without a hypothesis? How can you do that when experiments are hypothesis tests? From pennstate.edu, the scientist applies his or her present knowledge to predict the effect of the independent variable on the dependent variable. The prediction is a statement of the expected results of the experiment based on the hypothesis. What's next? Run the Brickyard 400 without a car.
Curvature, in and of itself, is a constant elevation.
You serious?
Shockingly, he is. Scottie. Did you pick the wrong week to stop sniffing glue? A constant elevation is having no part higher than the other. That's the definition of level, flat, and horizontal, not curvature. From dictionary.com, level, having no part higher than another, having a flat or even surface. From Cambridge, level, not rising or falling or higher on one side, Scottie, but even in all directions, horizontal or flat. Something that is level with something else is at the same height.
That's not going to tell us anything about curvature, though. Elevation does not hold any hints as to whether we're curving or not.
What the hell did you just say?
That's an elevation change. That's fine, but a curve is not an elevation change.
Bro, Raggy, retard!
The curvature does not change the elevation, Brian.
Fatality.
Wow, dude. Wow. So curvature does not change elevation, eh? From the United States Naval Academy.edu, curvature is the rate of change of slope. So it is the second derivative of the elevation surface.
Uh-oh!
From pennstate.edu, slope is a measure of change in elevation.
Uh-oh!
So, Booger Eater, if curvature is the rate of change of a slope, and a slope is the measure of change in elevation, then curvature must necessarily involve a change in elevation. Next block of instruction, how to point at a house. This is galactic universes beyond mind-numbing absurdity. The quintessential tenet of fairy tale ball-tart spinning space monkey religion dictates an 8-inch per mile squared drop along a tangent from your feet in every direction, Scottie. What is drop if not an elevation change? Por favor. Folks, this is akin to a communist renouncing the abolition of private property and the Roman Catholic Church disavowing the Virgin Mary. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this booger-eating schmuck's entire performance is imbecilic at a second-grade level and demonstrates a purposeful fundamental ignorance of mere basic concepts and topics. He not only speaks confidently in his belly-laughing ignorance, but ridicules others for challenging his baby Huey horsepuckery. It's a shameful disgrace for your average Joe Coffey to spew such backwards nonsensical drivel, but this schmuck has a PhD. I heretofore, Your Honor, invoke the DEFCON 1 doofus statute, recognizing the clear and present danger this Dunning-Kruger numpty has not only to himself, but others. Put a cork in it, Your Eminency. Yep, got it. Your Worshipfulness. That was society on the line. They want an emergency restraining order against this booger eater. No less than 1,000 light years. Your splendiferousness. I move to strike jury deliberation. Have them retire to their respective residences with the court's deepest apologies and a counseling voucher for tear-jerking belly laugher syndrome. An immediate subpoena issued from the bench with an attached indictment for Captain Kangaroo U, mail order diploma section, where this numpty clearly obtained his degree from. The PhD booger eater here straitjacketed, shackled, horse and elephant tranquilized, without cessation, in place with a 24-hour sword-drawn guard while we await Mr. Green Jeans, Mr. Bunny Rabbit, and Mr. Moose Stamp Lickers to give account.
Turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over.
Hey.
Hello. It's for you.
Yeah?
You've just been erased.